This is Steve Kerr, and you're listening to the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game.
Man, you didn't know that. 3 a.m. and at Corners Womack.
Steve Kerr, we'll see him later today.
That's the remix.
We'll see him later today. We need some Duke bars today. We need to bring the juice up. I see the calls out there. 888-957-9570. If you're on hold, Gene, Jr., and the rest of you, we'll get to you in just a second. Shout out to Kyle Master bringing me that coffee, man. I needed it.
You
I
did?
need that turbocharge because now I'm fired up. It's Eagles week. It's title game. It's the last show before we head out to Philadelphia to the 215. And everybody just said, don't wear your gear, don't wear your gear.
God.
I'll be on a plane with this, all right, with this hoodie. I'll be out there decked out Niners gear. We'll see if we get to the Nuggets and Sixers game. May have to abort mission. Look, Brian Westbrook's going to join us in a second here. Brian Westbrook, former Philadelphia Eagle. And, of course, he played with the Niners for a couple years. But I do want to get this out there. The Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame, Shasky. I know you're a big fan of this stuff.
Yeah.
Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame was just announced. The Bayshoff. There you go. And, you know, your boy's on the advisory council of the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. I had something to do with it.
Who's that, Willard or Dibs?
It's me.
Oh, you.
Me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
The king. The king. So shout out to everybody out there, Mario Alioto and everybody who runs his organization. There's a couple people, Jason Dumas. I believe David Bruce is on the council. Maybe one day.
Like Dumas got on there? Dumas been here 2 seconds.
Hey, man, Dumas putting in work.
Oh, okay.
Jason Dumas putting in work. But.
Love you, Dumas.
You know what? The 2023 class.
Okay.
Hell of a class.
Okay.
Andre Ward.
Okay.
Julie Foudy. Buster Posey.
Okay.
Patrick Willis. And Gary Payton.
These are
slam
layups.
dunks.
I mean, these are like...
But you got to. There was a lot of voting, dude. There was a long list. There's a lot of guys on there.
How is Gary Payton not in already?
Bay Area's loaded, dude. There is a lot of athletes out here, man. It's loaded.
But how does Buster, who just retired, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, how do we wait on Gary Payton?
Maybe people forgot he was from Oakland.
How? How could you forget? If you've heard him talk at any point in his entire life, you'd know exactly where he's from.
So this would be a lot of fun.
Well, that's a good class. I mean, that's a unanimous class.
Maybe you'll be my plus one. It'd be Thursday, May 25th at the Hyatt Regency in Barcadero in San Francisco.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, in early May, I'm going to Arizona to watch the Giants versus the D-backs.
Oh, have fun with that.
Watch that second place NL West team, the D-backs.
Bayshoff. Great class. Andre Ward, Julie Foudy, Buster Posey, Patrick Willis, and Gary Payton. Hey, Patrick Willis didn't make the Pro Football Hall of Fame yet, but he made the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame.
Nice.
And that's all that matters. It's all that matters. Before we get to Westbrook, let's take some calls. By the way, Brian Westbrook, part of the 2023 College Football Hall of Fame. You know where he played his college ball at? Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll.
No.
Villanova.
They don't even have a football team anymore.
He was there.
My boy Randy Sims played there for 1 year.
Oh, I know, Randy.
Yeah.
We played Pop Warner football together.
Oh, yeah. Well, he played. You probably watched.
I didn't play much.
He was a stud.
I didn't play much, but I didn't suffer a groin injury that lasted 3 years.
I mean, you got to get on the field first.
Groin injury stuff, it lasted 2 weeks. You're probably the type of guy hurt in practice.
Nah.
Let's go to Gene in Oakland, man. I love you, Shasky. You know I do. Gene, Oakland, what's happening?
Speaking of hurt practice, Randy Sims in particular, I think, got hurt at a baseball practice, walked off and said, I will never play baseball again in high school, and then went straight to the track team.
Yeah, I mean.
He could hit.
Oh, Randy Sims he's a pure athlete. He's out there in New York City. I wonder if he'll be in Philly.
Ice Cube double.
Yes, he is an Ice Cube double. I wonder if he'll be in Philadelphia.
That's a good question.
He's an Arizona Wildcat. Randy's an all-time great dude, man. I love Randy. Gene in Oakland, what's happening, man? Uncle Gene.
Hey, fellas. Hey.
Hey.
So I'm feeling just about as confident about this game as I did the last game. That is, I don't think we'll just win. I think we'll win decisively.
What? I like that energy, Gene.
Yep. And the main reason is because the Eagles haven't been tested enough in the playoffs. They're probably not ready for the next step, winning the championship. And but we are, okay? It's been well chronicled. We won 4 games. We lost 2, and the 2 we lost, were Super Bowl and the NFC championship last year. We came within 7 or 8 minutes of winning those games. The Eagles they're 1-1. Their first one was last year against Tampa Bay when they got rolled. All right, and then this year that was really a warm-up game against the Giants. So they really haven't shown anything. I don't think they're ready. But But there's another issue that I don't think has been covered very much.
What's
that? That's Mr. Hurts. Hurts is hurt. He's still nursing that shoulder. Okay. Now, normally he's a danger to run, but if he does, there's Bosa, Warner, Greenlaw, Warder, Hufanga, all really hard hitters that are going to go after him, and they could end his season. So I have a feeling they're going to cut back on his running ability in this game.
Gene, you've identified my number one most important thing for the 49er defense. To me, the number one most important thing in this game, everyone, deep ball. It's keeping contained, setting the edges, and staying within the boundaries of what the defensive principles are. Nick Bosa crashes in on the edge. Ibukam can crash in on the edge at times. I thought DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons showed a great example. We didn't do a lot of RPOs, but like setting the edge. They stayed in their gap assignments, and they stayed on the edge and didn't allow the Niners to get on the outside. They cannot get beat on this RPO. That is the number one most important thing. If he starts cooking on the RPO, and then he's pulling, and then he's throwing downfield, you're going to see chunk yardage. You're going to see yardage on the edges. That is the number one thing. I don't know what they do. I don't know if you stunt Bosa in a game like this to try to free him up and then open up the sidelines. Are you shadowing or whatever they call it when you have a
quarterback spy?
Quarterback spy. Thank you. The word was evading me. Is it Greenlaw? Is it Warner? I don't know exactly what it's going to be. But the RPO, the mesh point area, they've got to clean it up.
Well,
that's the number one thing for me defensively.
Because if Jalen Hurts is cooking on their RPOs, all of a sudden they remain balanced.
Exactly.
And I think you have to make the Eagles one-dimensional. The one thing everybody keeps highlighting the Monday night game against Washington. Sean King brought it up. Somebody else brought it up earlier this week. That's the blueprint, right? Well, what happened to Philadelphia in that game? They became one-dimensional. They got pass happy. Because they could run the ball really, really good. I mean, Miles Sanders had a spectacular season.
Absolutely.
Boston Scott's a good goal line back. Gainwell, we saw last week against the Giants, has a lot of speed. So if they remain balanced.
They do have a good group of running backs.
And I'm thinking, man, if they're getting 7 yards on first down in the run game. It's the same thing with the 49ers. They're getting good first down yardage. That comes with the RPOs. You got to shut down that mess point, and you got to hit Jalen Hurts at will because you're right. If he starts cooking, getting outside, all of a sudden he's throwing the ball outside. He's a tough joker to deal with. How much does he want to run, though?
I don't know.
How much will they allow him to run?
That's a great question. I don't know.
How much will they allow him to run these RPOs and try to get outside the pocket with the speed that the Niners have? So every single play that Jalen Hurts decides to run the football, you have to put him on the ground. You have to hit him.
This goes without saying, but they've got to tackle better in this game. I thought in the Dallas game,
they tackle. Well,
they missed a couple at the line and behind the line of scrimmage. No, guys cleaned it up.
No, I thought overall they tackle well.
There were some big misses.
There's one guy who didn't tackle well. Talanoa Hufanga.
He went up high multiple times.
That's the guy who didn't tackle well. He lost contain on Dak Prescott, had an easy sack on Dak, missed a tackle. CeeDee Lamb on a 3rd and 1.
Was that the little inside?
Jet sweep,
yes.
Hufanga's right. I think that was 4th down, maybe. That may have been 4th down.
That might have been 4th down. Where he kind of leaned forward and got the 1st down. You're right. It was 4th down. It was right around midfield.
Bro, you got to hit these dudes.
Yep.
Devontae Smith is a skinny wide receiver, by the way.
Yeah, but he's fast.
He is fast. Jimmy Ward's got to lay the wood on him. And just let them know, this is a big boy game. This ain't the Dallas Cowboys. This isn't the New York Giants. This is the 49ers. We hit.
And where's A.J. Brown at physically?
That's a good point. He said he was all right, but he was hobbled.
This feels like one of those body bag games. This might be one of the biggest hitting games that we've seen in the NFC in quite some time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very physical football game. And you got to weather the storm because Philly, they can run up tempo. And I think they saw something on film with the Kansas City Chiefs, with the Dallas Cowboys. I was actually shocked the Cowboys didn't run more up tempo.
I'm with you.
I thought they were a little too conservative.
I'm with you.
Philly's going to keep their foot on the pedal. They want to go fast, and faster. You know what I'm saying? So I'm worried overall. I get your points without the RPOs and everything.
It's just that
overall, it's just like, think about that. The pass rush don't get home, all of a sudden the secondary is going to be affected. And what has happened in the playoffs? The pass rush hasn't gotten home. The secondary has been affected.
And then those deep crossers, when you do those RPOs, it just opens things up. It's very difficult to cover downfield. We don't bring up Gibson at all during the week. I feel like he's the quietest safety in terms of how we've covered him ever. Does he step up and make a play in a game like this?
You got to turn these guys over.
I
Turn them
know.
over.
Someone's got to step up and make a play. Last week it was Diamondor Lenore.
Yep.
You know, Diamondor Lenore steps in front of that pass and makes a big-time interception. Jimmy Ward steps in front of that ball, makes a big-time bat to knock it up for Fred Warner. Someone in that secondary is going to have to make a play on the ball.
Let's get to Junior in the South Bay. Junior, what's happening?
What's up,
You're on the
Junior?
roast.
What's up, guys? Just letting you know, have fun out there. Be safe.
Thank you, brother.
Go Niners. I hate these Philly people talking smack like we never won. That's about it. Just go Niners.
Go Niners. Tsunami, San Jose. Tsunami, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Hey, what's up, big fella?
What's up, Tsunami?
Happy New Year. Haven't talked to you in a while, man.
No doubt. No doubt. It's
Yeah,
good to hear from you.
Yeah. Hey, don't take no lip from no Philly fans. Represent out there. Wear your colors proud. You guys are in a tougher area than Philly, man. That's soft. Second thing, Niners 27, Eagles 21. Niners were built for this game. They were built the last 5 years for this damn game. They're a running team. They're going to kill Philly there. Last thing, Shasky, Reardon lost yesterday. Mark February 7th on your calendar. That's when they visit my boys from Mitty, and that's when we're going to win the WCAL.
Look at you.
Later.
Well, you're going to
I
win
love
it
that.
for girls. That's for darn sure.
I love that.
Yeah, their freshman contingent at SI is fantastic. Caden and Steele, they've got some studs.
Oh, I love Steele. Steele LeBar, man.
Yeah.
I can't believe that kid is a freshman in high school. I can't believe he's a freshman. I mean, where's time gone, man? I'm getting old.
Does it
Really
feel
old.
like this is the 49ers version of the Andy Reid Eagles?
Losing championship game after championship
Yeah,
game,
and
losing Super Bowls and coming up short? No, I'm not even putting that out in the universe.
But is there some sort of connectivity between us playing in Philly and those teams? Like, is
I
this the
don't think
game we
so.
get over the hump?
I don't think so. I mean, you still got to win the Super Bowl.
No, I know.
So, and they've been to the Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan.
Do
Like
we
Andy
look back?
Reid-
Do we look back at that Andy Reid era as a success or a failure?
That's an interesting question. Brian Westbrook's going to join us in moments. I wonder how he feels about that or what people in Philly say, because from afar, I think it's a hell of a run.
I do
Andy
too.
Reid flipped that entire organization. But Philly fans will tell you, Now, you could go into a long line of teams, right, that come up short. The Buffalo Bills coming up short. The Philadelphia Eagles coming up short.
that's their
The Colts
hallmark
came
as
up
a
short
fan
for a
base.
long time. The Packers have come up short this last decade.
I know.
After having home field advantage a couple times.
I mean, how many NFC Championship games have they lost with Aaron Rodgers? And that's why I look at the Niners and I'm saying to myself, like, I know there's a lot of people are next year, Brock, QB1 and all that. Next year is not a given.
Yeah,
we are here right now, and I want them to maximize the right now with this roster and this team. And losing would be a huge gut punch.
It would be hard. And I'm not ready to talk all-season football. I'm really not. I could care less about what's happening in the training camp. Let's bring in first team All-Pro in 2007 and only 2 Pro Bowls for Brian Westbrook. Are you kidding me? He was one of the best players that decade.
Former Niner.
The screen game, former Niner. Had a cup of coffee with the 49ers, but also a Philadelphia Eagle. He's in the Philadelphia Eagles Hall of Fame on their 75th anniversary team, and he also has a new children's book out, which I need to get for my daughter, The Mouse Who Played Football. You can get it on Amazon. It is the story of Brian the Mouse, who was told he was too small to play football and sets out to prove everyone wrong. Of course, his new book is out on Amazon. He came out of Villanova, third-round pick with the Philadelphia Eagles, and Andy Reid and Brian Westbrook made sweet music, man. He's one of the most dynamic players. Brian, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Roast out here in the Bay Area. Joe Shasky, the Butcher, Ponte Hill. I can't believe you only made 2 Pro Bowls. 2 Pro Bowls? You were lethal in that offense with Philadelphia. Do we have Brian? All right, we'll get him on in a second. Damn.
Such a great way to start it off.
It's all good. Brian Westbrook joining us in moments here on the Bud Light guest line.
It was
Bud
like-
Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Took it as disrespect, actually, and then he just hung up. He's like, you know what? I'm still mad.
I'm still angry.
Who didn't respect Brian Westbrook? I mean, everybody loved him in fantasy.
Screen game,
He's a stud.
running between the tackles. He
He-
averaged 4.6 yards a pop in his career.
Wasn't he also a punt returner for a
I
period?
think so, yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah.
He was sick.
He was sick.
All right, we have Brian Westbrook now. All right. Don't forget, Brian Westbrook's book. We'll do it again. Brian Westbrook joining us on the Bud Light guest line. All postseason guests appear on the Bud Light guest line. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And again, his new children's book out, which Shasky I need to get because I have a 2-year-old daughter, The Mouse Who Played Football. You can get it on Amazon right now. It is a story of Brian the Mouse, who was told he was too small to play football. It sets out to prove everyone wrong. And boy, did he prove everyone wrong during the course of his NFL career. Only a 2-time Pro Bowl, which is shocking. Was first-team All-Pro in 07. Had some great years with the Philadelphia Eagles. Brian, good morning. Welcome to the Bay Area. Joe Shasky, the Butcher, Bonte Hill. First of all, how the hell did you only make 2 Pro Bowls? You were dynamic.
I asked myself that a couple times throughout my career. Tiki Barra stole one of my Pro Bowls. I can tell you that. But listen, I think anytime that you're recognized by your peers, I appreciate it. So I'm glad and grateful that I was able to make it twice.
And tell us about this new book before we get to the NFC title game, because I've got a young daughter, man. We got a bunch of children's books. I think this is really cool that you're doing this. Tell us about the Mouse Who Played Football.
Well, throughout my career, I was told you're not big enough. You didn't go to a big enough school. You're not fast enough. You can't do this. You can't do that. And when you think about people, like just people in general, someone's always telling you that you can't do something. You're not smart enough. You didn't go to the right school. You're not a man. You're not a woman. All these different things. You're too old. You're too young. And I believe it's all about what you believe in yourself. The things that you have within that's going to determine whether you're qualified to get whatever position or do whatever you're trying to do. And so really what we try to illustrate in the book is that so many people look at certain things, height, speed, school, size, as a weakness. And I always believe that those are my strengths. My size was my strength. The reason I was successful was because I wasn't 6'3". I was 5'10", and being able to hide behind offensive linemen. One of the reasons I was very successful is not because I didn't go to the University of Miami or Florida State or one of those places, but because I went to Villanova and I was able to learn some nuances about the game that allowed me to catch the ball better out of the backfield, read defenses better, be exposed to a different style of coaching. And I want to use those things that people perceive as weaknesses as my strengths, and certainly always believing in myself. And so it's a great book of lessons for young people, and quite honestly, lessons for older people as well.
Well, having said all that, I did exactly what you're saying not to do. I sized up Brock Purdy at training camp. I looked at him. I said, I just don't see it. He's too small. He's running around. His arm don't look that great. You can't hit the quarterback at practice, so who knows if this moving around is going to be able to work in a game. And all he's done is it just impressed me at every single turn. He's checked every box. Are you as impressed with Brock Purdy as I am?
Absolutely. When you see a young quarterback that understands his role, right? I mean, I have great players around me: Kittle, Debo Samuels. You have Christian McCaffrey around you. You have those people around you. Your real job is to get the ball into those guys' hands, right? And then when you have an opportunity to make a big play, like the big play that he made last week down the middle of the field to George Kittle, you make those plays. And Brock Purdy has just done a great job of not turning the ball over, getting the ball out of his hands, playing with the people around him, staying within the scheme and design of the offense. And when you do that, and you have an explosive play caller like Kyle Shanahan, that's all makes all the difference in the world. And he's just done a great job of being fundamental, being sound, and not making a huge mistake, and allowing the playmakers around him to make those plays. And when you do that, and you have a good team, you can be explosive, and obviously you could be playing in the NFC Championship game with an opportunity to make it to the Super Bowl.
Brian Westbrook here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 a game, courtesy of the Bud Light guest line. Of course, longtime Philadelphia Eagle, had a cup of coffee with the Niners in 2010, and we still respect you as being a Niner. Hell, some Niner fans may consider you more of a Niner than the Eagles. That's just how silly we are out here on the West Coast. But speaking of Jalen Hurts, because he's another guy who was doubted. Obviously left Alabama, got benched in the national championship game, goes to Oklahoma, has a great year under Lincoln Riley throwing to CeeDee Lamb, and still, he gets drafted, and people are like, oh, why did you draft him? I know Philadelphia fans did not want him drafted. They still believed in Carson Wentz. What has he had to overcome out there in that market? Because, man, he may steal the MVP this year. I think the young man is dynamic.
One of the biggest things that players of all sports have to overcome, and quite honestly, probably as people, is doubt. Right? Mm-hmm. Doubt. People not believing in your talents. And just imagine, you worked for 20-plus years at a particular thing, and then you get to this level, the NFL level, the highest level, where you reach your goal, and people are doubting your ability to do what you've been doing for the last 20 years. That's what Jalen Hurts has gone through. And, listen, I was one of those guys that didn't quite see him taking the type of leap that he's taken. Quite honestly, there's not very many people that believe that he would take the leap that he has taken. He went from a mediocre quarterback last year, maybe in the 20s, to an MVP candidate to this year. There's not very many people, as I think about the history of the NFL, that has taken leaps that big, like Jalen Hurts has taken. And how did he do it? He threw it through hard work, discipline. He was already a great leader in the locker room. This was the first time in a long time that he had the same offensive coordinator 2 years in a row. He had the ability to study, and there were some big-time questions about his arm and his ability to read defenses last year. And this year, he's come in, he's been studied up. His arm looks very strong. He's been much more accurate. And, of course, the ability to run the football has made all the difference in the world for this offense. So when you talk about doing a complete 180, Jalen Hurts has done that. And it's been surprising, but it was through the doubt that made that chip on his shoulder to make him work a little bit harder and be much more successful.
I'm looking here at this running back matchup. You could throw Deebo Samuel in there as a running back for the 49ers because they use him just as a football player on the field. Mm-hmm. Who's got the better running back room right now? I mean, because Jalen's going to run the ball like you're referencing. They've got some great running backs. The Niners got McCaffrey and Mitchell and Deebo. Who's got the advantage in the run game?
That's tough. I mean, when I look at and I always consider the run game, we start up front, right? So I look at the offensive line for both teams, and I'm saying, okay, these are two very qualified offensive lines that can get off the football and create holes and mismatches in the run game, which is that's why all those players that you mentioned are successful, because these boys up front just do a great job of making holes and pushing guys around. So it starts there. When I look at the offensive line, I almost say they're even. They're just because they do such a great job of creating space and holes. But when you look at the ability to run the ball, Kyle does a great job of getting guys in space. That's one of the things that I've always loved about Kyle Shanahan. After I got cut from the Eagles, I went down to Washington where Kyle was the offensive coordinator, and we probably spent, a couple hours just going through plays. And his mind, his ability to make holes and defenses and create space is special. And I add that to the running back conversation for San Francisco as well. The one thing that I think kind of swings the ball towards the Eagle is this. Miles Sanders, over 1,200 yards rushing the football, just a great, solid rusher, runner of the football this year, motivated, trying to get a contract. But when you have a quarterback that runs the football, it makes all the difference in the world. NFL defenses are not set up for quarterbacks to run the ball. That's why Lamar Jackson has so much success. That's why guys like Jalen Hurts have so much success, because defenses are saying, okay, we're going to blitz and we're going to play man-to-man on the back end. That means everyone's back is turned to the football. If Jalen Hurts has the ability to use his legs to get around that blitz, now you have the ability to run the ball. And so when I look at the offensive line and the combination of Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts running the football, I give the slight edge to Philadelphia. But you can't discount Mitchell and Samuel, as well as what Christian McCaffrey can do running the football. It's kind of you're picking one out of two of the best running teams in the league.
Yeah.
Brian Westbrook here on the Morning Roast, courtesy of the Bud Light guest line. Check out his new children's book, The Mouse Who Played Football. Get it on Amazon today. It is a story of Brian the Mouse, who was told he was too small to play football and sets out to prove everyone wrong. Brian, is this the best defense this 49ers offense will face all season, the Philadelphia Eagles defense?
It is. It's a really good defense. They're doing it kind of back in the style. I'm not sure if you remember back in 2007 when the Giants won the Super Bowl, they used pressure with the front four.
Oh, yeah.
They blitzed every now and then, but they got after the quarterback with their front four. Jonathan Gannon, as a defensive coordinator, has made the decision that we're not going to blitz a whole bunch. We'll blitz in certain situations. Maybe we'll bring 5 every now and then, but we want our front four to get after the quarterback. And when you see some of the pressures that they've been able to get over the course of the year, I mean, they had games where they have 6 sacks. The next game they have 7. Next game they have 7. I mean, they had a period of a 4 or 5 week period where they had, almost 30, 35 sacks. It's hard to do that in the NFL, and they've done it in a way that they're just using the front four to pressure the quarterback. And then because of that, now you'll be able to play coverage on the back end and not give up the big plays. So when you look at Darius Slay on the outside, Pro Bowl cornerback, you look at James Bradbury on the other side, very good cornerback, certainly had the ability to be a Pro Bowler. He's been that throughout his career. And, they've just done a great job as far as the Philadelphia Eagles have at protecting against the big play. And now the question is, can Brock Purdy be patient enough, no matter what the score is, to throw the ball down the field and take what the defense is giving them, which is very hard to do, especially for a young quarterback.
Brian, you joined a team that was like 11 wins, 12 wins. You joined the team 12, 13. Like, that team had so much regular season success, and then you look up and you don't have the big Super Bowl, and I'm sure a lot of people, they didn't win anything. It was a failure. I'm looking at my 49ers. They've been to 3 NFC Championship games in the last 4 years. And I feel like saying it's a failure if they don't win Sunday, it doesn't even feel fair. Like it like dismisses the whole journey and how much success they have. When you look back on those Eagles teams that you were a part of, was it a failure?
No, it certainly wasn't a failure. It was, anytime that you have a team over the course of 10, 12 years that is competing against themselves. We weren't competing, to make it to the playoffs. We were competing about, for the right to host home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And so when you're starting the year having those conversations, that's a little bit different than, are we good enough to make it to the playoffs?
Yeah.
We never had those conversations. We were only concerned about, where do we play our playoff games, at home or on the road? And so I don't think it's a failure. Now, as a player, your hunger and your goal is always to get that Super Bowl ring, right?
Sure.
And so, in that aspect, I'm a little bit disappointed with my career because I thought we had teams that had the ability to go out there and win those types of Super Bowls, but we just didn't get it done. So there's always a disappointment, but the word failure never enters my vocabulary at all. We were very successful. We did a lot of great things. We were much more successful than a lot of other players and other teams. I mean, just think about this. I played with a guy, Takeo.
Oh, yeah, Takeo Spikes.
Takeo Spikes,
we
yeah.
know the neck.
No neck.
I call him the
neck
neck.
Spikes,
Well,
Brian.
Yeah, that's my guy. And to the point where he came to Philadelphia, I don't know if he did it when he was in San Fran, he hadn't even won a playoff game. He hadn't been to the playoffs. I mean, can you imagine
Wow.
12 years into his career not playing in a playoff game?
Mm-hmm.
That's just hard to do. We didn't have those issues. So listen, no, we're not a failure. And I don't think the 49ers would be a failure if they don't make it past this game this weekend either. They've done everything to get there.
Yeah.
They're still a very young football team and building. And so, no, it's not a failure. It's just another opportunity, a lesson, an opportunity to learn a lesson. And then you try to go out there and figure out those holes for next year and keep playing.
Brian, what are we getting ourselves into this weekend? Shasky and I are going out to Philadelphia, to the belly of the beast. We're going to Lincoln Financial Field. We have our red and gold on. We're expecting the Niners win. What are we getting into when we get to Philadelphia?
Well, of course, the most passionate fans in the league. We believe that. We believe fans are going to be absolutely going crazy. They're going to contest everything. Bad catch, bad call, fumble, all different types of things they're going to be arguing and fighting about. But, again, you're going into a fan base similar to San Francisco that loves the game of football, loves the nuances of the game, and, of course, loves their team. And so you should expect a tough visit, especially if you're going to be wearing Niners jerseys, but you should also expect a fair and fun visit as well. That's how Philadelphia fans are.
We can't wait. We can't wait to get out there. We're on the red eye after the Warriors game tonight. We'll be out there Saturday morning. May try to take in the Sixers game, and hopefully you and Brian Dawkins are not at the link. I don't need that crowd even more fired up because I know how they rev up when you guys are in the building.
Absolutely. Well, sounds good. Well, enjoy yourself in Philadelphia, and hopefully the game will be as will live up to the excitement that I have certainly in my mind and my heart for this football game.
And also, congratulations on the book. It's really cool to see
real.
you doing what you're doing with this new children's book, The Mouse Who Played Football, on Amazon right now. We'll check it out. Continued success, Brian.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Anytime.